Hey, this is Tony Bird. Welcome to Asking for a Friend. This week we have Lisa Ciraulo from Professional Realty Services in Coeur d'Alene. Let's just start by introducing yourself to the internet.
Sure. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Like Tony said, I'm Lisa with Professional Realty. I'm licensed in Idaho and Washington. Been in the business for a few years now, and just the industry is crazy, so it takes someone who's just as crazy enough to keep up with it. I think that's me.
And you kind of mentioned like you have a team, but you call it the team. Can you just kind of explain that? Because I think that's kind of unique.
Yeah, sure. One of my favorite parts of the job is training new agents. And so I've partnered with several newer agents. We call ourselves the team because we don't do things like a normal team. We're there more to just support each other, become the best realtors we can so that we can service our clients at a high level.
So one of the things I think comes up a lot is like, should I buy an old home or a new home? I know when, like in my situation, my wife likes older homes and I kind of want newer homes, and so we live in older homes.
Of course.
But I'm assuming that debate happens a lot with clients, right?
It definitely does.
So that's kind of what I want to focus on today. Let's start with new homes. What are the reasons people want to buy newer homes?
Well, I would say number one, especially in this market, is we've got a low inventory situation. It's really hard to find that perfect home that you really love that speaks out to you. And when you do, there's probably 30 other people in line that feel the same way. Mm-hmm. And so I think the competition in this market has really turned a lot of folks into like, hey, what about new construction? It's more affordable than it used to be, and I can get things a little more the way that I like instead of shopping for that, gem that may or may not be out there.
Okay, and so inventory, but what happens if like they're really passionate about, I want this super old house? What are some of the reasons people kind of go down that road?
I think it really just depends on the lifestyle you want to live. A lot of older neighborhoods are closer to like downtown or to more conveniences. They like the style of an older home. They don't want that cookie cutter feel. And so they're going to gravitate more toward a more established neighborhood. You'll see, the vegetation is all grown up and, you're not dealing with brand new little baby grass. It just sometimes feels more like home to people when they first walk through the door.
Okay, so you said inventory and kind of ability to purchase, but what are some of the other advantages of buying a newer house?
Probably the biggest advantage is that you have some say in, the way it's laid out. Like if you know for a fact that this is where my TV is going to go in the master bedroom, you can put an outlet here, and the builder's going to work with you to make sure that they customize it as much as possible. Even in some of those, lot home packages where they're in an established neighborhood, you still have a lot of say. And so that would be one reason. Also, just kind of knowing what you're getting, knowing that you're the first one that's been in there, nobody else has been in, everything's up to code, it's current. You're not going to be replacing a roof, probably for 20 to 30 years. And so some people just really like that feel of security of, okay, it's brand new, I'm the only one here, and nothing's going to have to be replaced anytime soon.
And so on a new home, you don't even do an inspection, right? It's kind of done for you. You just have the appraisal.
Well, you have that option, but I always recommend to my clients that you still have an inspection. The builder does include a warranty. I would say most builders do, and it's usually good for a year, and you have an option to renew. But just as with anything, something can always go wrong, or, so it's always a good idea to have another person, an inspector, who's licensed and bonded to come in and just do a walkthrough and say, hey, this looks good, and put his stamp of approval on it as well.
Perfect. Yeah, have someone, an objective third party come
Absolutely.
in and see it. You said the new construction is kind of like you get to customize it however you want. Obviously, in the older homes, you're not putting your outlets where you want. What are some of the advantages of older homes?
I think the advantages are definitely in the eye of the beholder. If you're somebody that really enjoys doing projects and, taking something that has a lot of character and fixing it up, making it your own, older homes are a great way to do that. And then also, we're all familiar with the phrase, they don't make things like they used to anymore. And I think that's exactly why they say things like that, because the quality of materials, some years ago was probably quite a bit better than it is these days. Mm-hmm. And so, if it's still standing, it's probably going to keep standing. And I think a lot of people take comfort in that.
Yeah, that for sure. We've obviously talked advantages. What are some of the pitfalls of buying a new home?
Well, it really just depends on you and your agent, or yeah, you're definitely your agent and your builder all working together to make sure that you know every little thing that's going into it. Some builders include certain features, other builders consider them upgrades, and so when you are looking at a builder, you want to make sure your agent is familiar with what those are and what the differences are, because you could be walking through a model home and say, oh, that looks like standard, but that's actually, you know, a $15,000 upgrade.
Right.
And then not only that, but you can run into timing delays if they're having trouble getting subs on the job. You know, like let's say you've got the house all framed, but they're having trouble getting someone out there to do the electrical because they're backed up. You could experience delays. Although they always do make it right. Sometimes, you know, if you're on a timeline or you're needing to move right away, new home construction may be more of a challenge for you.
Right.
And you might want to consider going with something that's resale, even if it's not perfect.
Now, older homes, I'm assuming they're kind of obvious, but what are some of the pitfalls of the older homes?
Well, you can definitely come up with some funky floor plans that might be hard for you to move a wall here and there, whereas new construction, you can usually work with your builder on that. When you are getting into older construction, and especially if it's, you know, back in the early 1900s, you know, things could have been built out of plumb and they might have shimmed it with a little stick here and there and you just don't really know. So once you cut into something, you could be finding more of a project than what you were expecting to do. There's usually a workaround, and I would always recommend, unless you're an extremely handy person, getting an opinion of a qualified contractor when you're going to start cutting into those old homes.
And I'm assuming the inspection becomes a lot bigger deal on an older home than it does a newer home, correct?
Yes, I would say it's just as big a deal either way, because you want to know what you're getting and what you're going to be looking for. But with inspections, that's present at the time of inspection as well. So there's always things that can be missed. It's a good idea to, you know, do your homework, talk to your inspector, make sure that you, if there's any concerns you have personally, address them. And then also your realtor should know the area of town you're looking in. Like if that area of town has a lot of trees, for example, then you want to have your inspector pay close attention to where your sewer lines are coming in to make sure there's no branch, you know, rolling through something like that. So it really does, it's a team effort. You need a responsible realtor, you need a great inspector, and then also just a ton of homework on your own to make sure that you're, you know, looking out for those things that could be.
Right. And then like the inspector is going to tell you timelines like on the roof, right? So if the roof is 10 years out or 2 years out or whatever, you get kind of those things. The inspector tells you that, correct?
Yes, exactly. They'll give you estimates of their opinion at the time of inspection of what they feel what's a safety issue, and then what's something that maybe can go a little longer, or something that's normal wear and tear on a home.
All right, so we've gone through advantages, disadvantages. Now, what are some things people should know heading, like if they've made this decision, like we're buying a new home, what are some things they should know about buying new homes?
I would say the most important thing is just understanding that every builder is different and every agent is going to do their best to try to get you all of that information. But new homes do usually require a lot more money out of pocket. And so I would say it's very important to work with your agent, work with your builder to know what those deposit schedules are going to look like, so that you're prepared, if that's the route that you want to go, to have the cash on hand when it's time to either do your upgrades or to do you know, your permitting deposit or whatever it is that they're going to require.
And then older homes, what are some of the things people should know as it, like they made the decision, older home, what are things they should know as they kind of go down the process of buying those?
You definitely just want to be savvy of, you know, the age of the home that you're buying. You want to keep an eye out, look for things that you might want to have extra attention to on your inspection. You know, just do a really detailed look and have your agent look with you. You know, like, what is going on with the foundation here? Or, you know, does this roof line look normal, or is it sagging? And, you know, we may have discussed this briefly, but your agent should know different areas of town and what that might mean for an older home. And I think that as long as all of you work together, you are going to have a great team, and you just have to try, you know, schedule your inspections, keep the communication open, and, you know, real estate's an adventure. What can I say?
Yeah. Should, as you're buying a new home, so like we've done it a couple times and we've renovated them. As a buyer, can I ask you as the realtor, hey, like we want to update this kitchen, how much do you think it would cost? Or is that something like you work with your realtor? Do you work with a contractor? How does that kind of process work?
Well, we can always give you an opinion of something that we've had experience with recently. I always recommend that as a buyer, you do speak directly to somebody in that industry who's the professional, because I'm not up to date on what construction costs are, and so I could be giving you an inaccurate picture. So I would want to recommend someone that you speak with who's going to give you the best information possible. So I'll give you an estimate or just an idea, but I will additionally recommend that you speak with somebody who's a professional in that field.
And one thing I kind of found with was, like, as we were going through that process, was timelines of, like, you know, you, like, especially in this market, like, you got to go in and go, like, we like this, and then you're like, all of a sudden, I got to make all these decisions on kitchen and costs and all those kind of things. Then you got to make an offer. So it is important to have someone that at least can rough estimate the, you know, hey, kitchen's going to cost you $1 million and the bathroom's going to cost you whatever.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's good to know that you should be able to kind of ask for average opinions on
Yes.
those from your realtor.
Absolutely.
So you're licensed in Idaho and Washington, but spend most of your kind of days in Coeur d'Alene, correct?
That's correct.
Where is your favorite place to grab something to eat or drink?
Well, that is probably the easiest question I've been asked today. Hands down, 10-6 on 4th in Coeur d'Alene. It's New Orleans Cajun style food,
Okay.
an amazing staff. The whole restaurant is decorated Disney themed, like Haunted Mansion, Pirates of the Caribbean, Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
Just very cool experience, great for the kids. The staff even dresses up on Saturdays and Sundays, and it is absolutely a riot. Love
And
it.
it's New Orleans, southern New Orleans.
Louisiana.
What should someone grab if they go to?
Well, I would highly recommend the Eggs Royale, which is their version of Eggs Benedict, but instead of getting it on English muffin, do it on a fried green tomato. Unreal.
Sounds delicious. Hey, thanks for joining us. Awesome info. Tell the people how they can find you
Sure.
if they have questions.
Yeah, you can give me a call or text anytime. My number is 208-967-3285, and you can also find me on Facebook or Zillow and check out the Unteam.
Awesome. We'll see you next time on Asking for a Friend.
Thank you.